Hey everyone, I'm Brad Chmielewski and welcome to Shatter the Vain. So this is episode 83. It's a pretty long one this time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Have Unseen Outlaw, like Nerds for Revenge on here. We talk a lot about all the awesome skins that are coming in 1.15, what maybe we might see in 1.15 along with the skins, but we're not going to see. And then we get into like the negative vibe that's been in the air lately around Vainglory and people being upset about Fortress and the Fortress Kashka Ringo comps and all that stuff. So we talk about that and the eSports scene because we're getting close to the Winter Championships. So get ready for those. Get your tickets. And yeah, it's a great episode, a big one here. And I want to mention again the Shatter the Vain Patreon page. That's over at patreon.com/Shatter the Vain. If you could donate, give back, that's awesome. If not, understand. I appreciate everyone that listens. Fantastic everyone that talks on Twitter and lets me know what they like about the show, what they're doing. And so, yeah, appreciate that. And I have a couple ideas for maybe some Patreon only content. So maybe we'll get into that and start doing some of that as well over on the Patreon page. So let's do it. Let's get into episode 83.
Shatter the Vain, a podcast about Vainglory.
This is the 83rd episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can all become better players together. And each and every week, we bring on new people within the Vainglory community, just awesome streamers, YouTubers, just people that love this game. And this week, I have Nerds for Revenge joining me. Welcome.
Yo, thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
It's like a dream come true right now.
It was like almost perfect timing too, because just on the fold, Chuck was talking about you, and so it's like, oh man, you're all over the place now. Your name's getting mentioned everywhere.
The tip of the hat, man. The tip of the hat.
So for people that don't know who you are, want to introduce yourself, let them know what you're doing.
I go by Unseen Outlaw. I'm the host of Nerds for Revenge, a show that can be found on Twitch. And basically, I'm a full-time streamer for Vainglory.
Okay.
And I've been kind of full-time streaming Vainglory for the past 7 months now. Ugh, feels
Wow.
crazy. I was like, goodness, long time now. So yeah, good times so far.
What were you streaming before Vainglory?
Previously, man, previously I was streaming Clash of Clans,
Okay.
pretty much full time, and then made the switch over and just never looked back.
Yeah, that's what I seem to hear from a lot of Clash of Clans people. They're like, God, I'm so happy I'm playing this game now.
I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
That's awesome. So you're a full-time streamer, what days do you usually stream for? Is it every day?
I stream Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. Awesome.
And that's Central Time, yeah.
And then what do you usually do on your stream? Are you doing like battles like with the community, or are you just doing like solo ranked, or you kind of mix it up from day to day?
It's always mixed up from day to day. It just really kind of depends on whenever I wake up or what happened the previous day to kind of determine. Like, I'm like, do I really want to risk my rank? I had a really bad day yesterday.
Okay.
But it just really kind of depends. I mean, I always try to make it like something kind of new than the previous day. I hate being, I felt like if I really wanted to have a day-to-day job, I would do the same thing over and over. So,
Yeah.
For me, streaming full-time, it's like I really want to make sure like each day is a little bit different. So we might do privates or casuals or ranks. We just kind of mix it up, just kind of depending on the day, and just create mini games as we go, just to make everything more fun. So
Right, yeah. Like I couldn't imagine streaming full time. You get bored of the game. Like I've watched like Cutie Pie or the League of Legends people. They're going for like 8-10 hours a day. It's like, man, this is the same game over and over again. So
I mean, that only tells you like how good the game is, though, right? Like for you to be able to sit there for a long, because I was like, man, that's 6 hours in a day. But and sometimes people go longer, or maybe I decide to go longer for the day. But that just really just explains like how addictive the game is once you pick it up, and just the nonstop action to it.
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. How'd you get into Vainglory then? Did you play other MOBAs or just strictly like looking for something else besides
You know,
Clash?
I tried other MOBAs like kinda, and I just really never got into them. I think there was too much, and of course, like some of those particular communities, no name saying, but can be sort of kind of toxic as a beginner getting into them. And I just never really got into them. I was like, no. And Lady Wabish actually started in Clash,
Okay.
and so did Gibbs, and they were kind of streaming Clash, and then they switched over to Vainglory, and I kind of played it for a little bit, and I was like, I kind of like this, and then I left and kind of continued to build with Clash, and then I don't know, one day we were sitting around talking about Vainglory, and we were just like, yeah, let's try to play it again. We played it, and we just couldn't put it down, and ever since then, I was like, I'm never playing Clash again. You'll never make me go back. And we stayed in Vainglory, and we've been part of the world ever since. It's
Very
just a
cool.
really really awesome community.
Uh, what's your usual role? Do you kind of play everything, or you kind of
I,
gravitate to just a certain position?
I've tried nowadays, as time has gone by, and just really the understanding of the game now I kind of try to play a little bit of everything, but I am a true roamer by heart. Like, I love roam. I mean, a lot of people don't like it, but I'm the guy
Right.
that auto locks roam. Like, I get in there and I'm like, auto lock roam, everybody gets to go. I just feel like it's such like a backbone position, and I just like controlling that ultimate output as far as in um, making sure everyone's good to go, and the carries and so forth. But yeah, I love Rome.
Who's your go-to roamer? You feel like an Arden guy to me.
No, actually, yeah, that's funny. You know what? I never when I actually started roaming, I never liked Arden,
Oh,
which
okay.
is so weird. I actually did not like him at all. My first hero that I always played and played continually was always Catherine,
Okay.
like from day one, and I just played her until I just felt like she couldn't be played anymore in my mind. And then from there, I just started gravitating to every single support hero that I could find. So every support hero, I'm on them, and I just play them until I can't play them anymore. But I like Arden. He's cool.
Okay.
No hate on Arden. I
Oh no, yeah.
I had a nice little Arden um whim where I was only playing Arden for a while, and I think he's still a really great hero. He's has a nice variable, as far as in if someone's out of position and so forth. But
Mhm.
Catherine is my girl. I love her. I don't think me and her have a very hate and love relationship. I hate her when I have to play against her, and
Okay.
love her when I'm playing with her.
Yeah, I play a lot of Catherine, and like you said, you play that person until you can't play them anymore. So then you start messing around with other builds. So been
Exactly.
playing around with like, oh, instead of aftershock, let's just go the clockwork
Right.
builds and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, I'll just be super annoying, and so it's kind of
And I think that's the biggest part, right? That once she gets clockwork, she's just the most annoying hero on the board. You're like, if she pops another shield or hits me with another stun, I am going to freak out.
I know, yeah. It's like, why can't we kill her? This is ridiculous. Do you feel like there's a support role missing, or maybe a ability? Like, what kind of support would you live to see still in this game? That are we missing? Are we missing like
uh,
a true healer? Like Adagio has his heals, but he does a lot of damage too. Do we need like a squishy little, just a little person that heals and lots of aura, something like
I don't
that?
know. I feel like right now everything it has a really nice. I wouldn't mind another support hero. Don't get me wrong, because I love support heroes. I mean, so I would definitely feel like any support hero that comes along, I would be always into. But right now I feel like there's a really nice kind of mix of support heroes. I think there's a lot of support heroes that aren't naturally played, which I feel are super strong, and we really don't play them like support heroes. We play them more as carries and so forth. But um, it's really weird you bring up Adagio. I don't know why I can't get into Adagio. I
Hmm,
just don't
okay.
like him, and it's so weird. Like, I like all the support heroes except for Adagio. And I think maybe it is because he ends up being more of a carry than a true protector in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. Like, he disperses a lot versus really, I think, really bringing that nice stun presence in. Other than his slow or his ultimate that kind of comes in, which is just completely one of those noticeable ultimates that's just it beams up, and you're like,
Frick.
I'm just gonna run out of
Yeah,
this.
no problem. Yeah.
We're gonna get out of this.
That's cool. Yeah, the heals. I could see like a good shields. We get like Finn has like gives those fortified health to people. But we don't have like shields as another mechanic, so that could be.
Right. I mean, there can always be, there's always room for improvement. I guess they did kind of take away a Rome from us, right? Like Fortress naturally was a protector slash initiator,
Yeah.
and then one day I was on stream and I'm like, all right, guys, and we're looking at Fortress, and I was like, what just happened? And right then and there was they did an update when they added more damage to him, and then he became a warrior slash initiator, and I was like,
Right.
we just lost a protector. I am so sad right now. So I think they do need to make that up to me. I'm just saying. If you guys are listening, you need to make that up to me for sure.
I agree. They did kind of take someone away, and it's
They
like
did take him away. So now it's a different part. I still play him though as a protector, which I love playing Fortress as a protector versus any type of warrior. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. I mean, I've been seeing, some things. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe in the future they'll hook us up with a really cool hero that can do some sort of absorb, as far as in absorbing the amount of damage and then
Ooh,
dispersing
okay.
it back out, which would be really really neat to see someone who, like a person that you really don't want to hit, because you're like, because in your mind you're never supposed to hit the support, right?
Right.
It's kind of like, don't hit that guy, right? But if you actually made a hero where you were super penalized for hitting that support hero, then you'd be like, no one touch him, go
Don't.
after
Yeah.
the carries. So I don't know. It'd be really cool to see someone to maybe absorb the, whatever energy is given, and then they can kind of disperse it out, which, be kind of neat.
Yeah, that'd be neat. Yeah, you're rocking that Vainglory hat. Were you at the PAX event recently? Did you pick
Yeah,
that up?
I was super grateful, man. I got to work at PAX South at the Vainglory booth, and it was the most exciting thing ever. Man,
Was
so much swag, so much awesome swag coming out. Yeah, and I grabbed this cap, and it was crazy. I grabbed my brother a hoodie, and I brought him back a hoodie. I was trying to think about him, and yeah, can you believe this dude is not grateful about this hoodie and asked me about this hat like at least 2 or 3 times a day? I was,
He's like, I got this sweet hoodie, but I want the hat.
I want
It's
the
like,
hat. It's all about the hats.
nice. How was that event? Have you been to PAXs before? I've never been to a PAX, so
I haven't. It was actually my first PAX. I went to TwitchCon, and of course I saw the Vainglory booth at TwitchCon, and it was nowhere near the size of the way it was at PAX. I mean, the booth that Twitch and Vainglory shared was just gigantic, and it was the coolest looking thing. And PAX South is supposed to be one of the smaller PAXs out of
okay.
all the PAXs, but this thing was gigantic. I mean, it was probably like 4 times bigger than TwitchCon. So I was just
Okay.
like very astonished. I thought it was really awesome. I didn't get as much chance, because we were really working, and it was just a lot of people to really kind of walk around like I think I wanted to. But overall, experience-wise, if you haven't got a chance to go to PAX, you got to. It's one of those things, like a must-see thing.
Okay.
Very very cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'm closer to the PAX East here, the Boston one, so that would be the
Right.
one I would try to go to if I went out to one.
Yeah, make it, dude, because I think it'll be one of those things where you would seriously be like, this is very cool. It seems like, also I think at PAX, like it was a little bit different too, like audience wise. It felt more like people were more open to newer games or other
Okay.
games versus like Twitch, where I mean you have a lot of Twitch broadcasters like myself who are more, I think, content looking at their own games and what's already kind of going on within their own community. PAX felt more open. There was just people going all over, and honestly, we had more first timers trying Vainglory than people who had already tried Vainglory and playing. So that was really really cool. Like just seeing all these people playing that have never played before.
Yeah.
And just really enjoying the game and the gameplay, and really catching on pretty quickly, some of them. So that's pretty awesome. I think that was a win. definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I do agree. The TwitchCon people were like, it was the same people that you already knew the game were playing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, yeah, we're experts. Let's own these new guys. But yeah, it was 3-on-3 of just straight up noobs, and it was great, man. Great time sitting there coaching them, and we had Halcyon Hammers in the building
Mhm.
with coaching, and so it was just really really cool, like having all those guys, man, just hanging out and just vibing out, man. Just really a good feeling overall.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds like a fun event. I gotta make it to one. I gotta get to events so I can get a hat.
Yeah,
That's really
that
why I
that's
gotta go to
that's pretty
event.
much the only reason, right? Just get the hat. Everything else can wait. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Well, awesome. Should we jump into the news then? We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it.
Vainglory News.
So we got a lot of, I guess, reveals this past week. We got some really fun skins that are coming out. The first one, and one I'm pretty excited about, is this Stormlord Arden Tier 3 skin.
I know.
This skin looks pretty epic.
I
Uh,
know. I'm not even gonna lie. I cried a little bit when I saw it. A tear might have came out of my eye.
uh-huh.
Just
And the lore is very touching, and piece like it just all the story comes together. It's really great. I'm gonna have to start saving up cards and buying ice box this year because I must have this giant purple swirling gauntlet going down. Do you have the other skins already, or do you have to work your way up to this tier 3 now?
I do actually have all the skins already, so
Okay.
I'm ready to go. As soon as it's released, just give it to me. Take my money.
Yeah.
It's that amazing, yeah. And Arden has always had some pretty cool, like his tier 1, tier 2 is pretty neat. But this tier 3 though, I mean, it's a pants melter. I'm just
Right.
gonna say it off the bat.
Yeah, it makes the other, like, I'll jump around with tier 1 and 2 skins every now and then, but I feel like this tier 3 on Arden, it's like just like why would I play anything else?
Right, right. I have a feeling that once it goes out, I already know that we're gonna see so many tier 3 Ardens on the board. It's just gonna be like every ranked match, every casual match, Arden. Like
Yeah.
he's probably gonna be mostly played right about now. It's kind of like whenever you saw Catherine come out with her nerd glasses and everyone was just,
Yeah.
this is the best thing ever, for a limited edition. I think it's gonna be the same, but to get it in a tier 3 with cards without purchasing for it and working, it's probably gonna be it's definitely a lot of excitement going on around Arden right now.
For sure. And then we also got a tier 2 skin. This is for Star Queen Celeste. This one looks pretty nice too. I
It
have
does.
haven't been playing a lot of Celeste lately. She's like just not in the meta at the moment, so you don't see her very much. But this
Yeah.
skin looks pretty nice. I love the little glowing galaxy within her staff there.
She's got the little galaxy balls up her hair too. Did you see those?
Yeah.
They kind of like twinkle. Yeah, it's really neat.
Hmm.
I think it's really cool. I kind of wish that it was a third, only because I was looking for like a little bit of animation with her, and usually that doesn't happen until tier 3. But I still think it's an amazing costume, man. A lot of detail and work went into that. So
Yeah, like her particle. Like we have the Baywitch Celeste, but
Mhm.
like we kind of can get a sense of what they might do for a tier 3. But
Right.
like she has so many particles. Like Arden, he's got the gauntlet. That's like his big thing you see. So, but she
Right.
has every spell has something happening there. So she
Mhm.
lends herself to probably a really amazing tier 3 skin too.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I know it's definitely going to take a lot of time. Yeah, you're right. Her A, B, and C is just each one has an individual presence to it. So whatever chainsaw and those boys pick up, I can only imagine like what their vision is in it. So nonetheless, this is just straight up amazing. So I'm definitely looking forward to Celeste maybe possibly coming into meta
Yeah.
and seeing her played more. She's a very, very cool hero to play in the lane. I still see people play with her, and the people who do play with her still can kind of rock her out. But yeah, she hasn't been what we remember from Celeste with that minion clear, just like
Right, yeah.
everyone leave.
Yeah. Couple heliogenesis. All right, off to the jungle.
Yeah.
And then on the tier 3 skin, I forgot to mention, Playoff Beard said that, Nivmet said, so it's a lot of hearsay here, that there may be a new death animation on tier 3 Arden, and that's kind of a new thing.
That would be pretty cool. I mean, you know, Nivmet is a supporter of supports.
Right.
So, I mean, we see a lot of Nivmet playing Taka, but that's for his like, you know, that's more for show when he's on stream and so forth.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, that's at heart he's a straight up support. So, you know, if Nivmet says,
So he's
then
yeah, he's
Nivmet
making sure,
might.
he's making sure his favorites get a little extra there.
Yeah, yeah, he's always down for the supports. Yeah,
Nice.
much love.
And then the other skin we got revealed, what was it, last week, but we got a little more info about it, was Night Shadow Taka. This skin looks pretty neat, so this is going to be a limited edition skin for 1.15, but they're doing it a little different this time. So, of course, you'll be able to unlock it with ice, just throw down the cash, but
Right.
they're also doing these like other card events with it. So you can also unlock Taka using 16 Night Shadow Taka legendary cards.
Right.
So first off, when you hear that 16, that's a lot of legendary cards to get.
That is a lot. That is a lot. I was sitting there thinking about that. That's a lot. I mean, I don't know. You know, the other day I received a legendary card and I was like, wow, I haven't seen one of these in a minute. Like,
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they might up the ante though on the amount of cards you receive, or you know.
Yeah, that's kind of what they said. So the Taka card events will accelerate you towards 16 legendaries you need. There'll be card events similar to Crazy Eights,
Crazy Eight.
and expect that after your third win of and something where you get after your third win of the day, you may get a legendary card as well. So if you play a lot, you should be able to get this card or these cards very quickly. They're also going to, in the card marketplace, have a special Taka legendary box only. So maybe with Glory, I feel like it would be with Glory, because if it's with ice, like, just buy the skin with ice. Why should I buy cards to unlock the skin?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know though. I think it's probably going to be with ice though, and it might be just like, well, you're buying it at a cheaper rate, so maybe we'll get a certain amount of legendary Taka cards.
Yeah.
Because what most skins right now are costing about $20,
Right.
somewhere around there. So, for $5, maybe you get maybe two or three, maybe two. So, and then you just grab the rest of with wins. So I think it just all depends about what your account is looking like at the time
Right.
this comes out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the skin looks really, really neat.
Yeah, we haven't even seen in-game footage of this yet, have we? We've only seen the splash art.
We haven't. We've only seen the splash art, but I'm already looking at it. It's got this really neat purple electricity kind of bouncing off his body armor, and I can only imagine if that's going to be implemented into the actual live footage as well, which would be really cool if he's, you can just see it kind of bouncing off of him. Maybe he does some sort of neat thing with his cyborg red eye there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only bad thing about the skin is that means we'll see more Takas, and I'm not for that.
We can always just shut him down with a contraption. Let's just get a contraption and shut him down right now.
Right. There you go. So I'm gonna wait to see like what these legendary events are if I throw down the $20 or whatever to get this straight up, or if I try to get it with cards first, and then on the last day I'm like, I didn't make it, just buy it.
I feel like that's gonna be a lot for everyone. Everyone's like, no, I gotta get it now. Forget it.
Because
I'm not gonna-
if you end up with like 14 cards and it's like the
You're
last
already
day, yeah, be like, all right, just here's $5 or whatever, like you said.
yeah, and there you go. There goes that $5 being used versus buying it all the way out.
Yeah.
So.
So all three of these skins will be available in 1.15, which sounds like it's close. I think it's coming this week.
Yeah, maybe this week. Maybe it's probably we've already seen the live footage. We just haven't seen the live footage of Taka, but yeah, I think it's probably pretty close to coming. Usually anytime we see a dev stream and they actually start showing the live footage of the heroes, usually the following week we kind of, or the current week we kind of see it come out. Usually around what, Wednesday,
Yeah, we usually Wednesday. Yeah, because
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, it's usually the time. I think it's
playoff
Wednesday.
playoff Beard said the next time you see him probably on stream would be for the downtime streams. So
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's either Friday because that's when he's usually back on there, or he's
Yeah.
not even going to be on at all this week. That's
Right.
it's just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big tease to us.
I don't know. They're always keeping us on our seats, man. They're pretty evil like that.
I know. Keep an eye out for that. Get ready. Get your iTunes gift cards. Start saving up because everyone's gonna be blowing a lot of money for this update. I don't think we got a new hero in this update. I know a couple people have asked. We haven't seen anything or heard anything. I think this is.
I don't believe we're gonna get a new hero at all. I think this particular update is gonna be more focused around possible like just balances. As always, in my opinion, they're probably going to do a balance on Fortress and things like
Yeah,
that. Because the moment someone, I mean, and he is, the ultimate's probably a little too much. It's
a
I
little
gotta
bit.
agree.
Yeah.
It's a little too much. So we'll probably see some balances there and some other ones there, and then of course the actual skins will be there in the limited edition. But as far as the new heroes, I think if there was going to be one, we would have definitely seen it on that Friday dev stream, which we didn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to assume that as of right now, we're just going to be waiting until those things get done. I did hear them say though on the dev stream about waiting for a new piece of technology to come out to finish something.
Oh yeah, to finish Taka tier 3, which
Three.
makes me think: are they waiting for like something they're trying to program into the game, or are they waiting for like devices to be more powerful to handle it? Like,
I don't know. I mean, maybe they're looking for that compatibility. Probably. I don't know. Yeah, it's so much speculation around there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens, and it should be super exciting. But as far as this update, I don't believe there's gonna be any new heroes coming out. There's nothing. There's nothing in the wind at all, or any talks.
nah.
Which I think everyone's kind of like gotten to the point that every single update is just like a new hero, like update, new hero. What do we got?
Right.
But I don't mind there not being a new hero, to be honest, because we got a lot of stuff going on with the VGLs and so forth, and I think right now we just kind of need the time just to focus on the checks and balances and making sure that as of right now the game is working as smoothly as possible, and that the heroes being selected are balanced to play competitively and casually.
Because I don't know if the live final or the winter championships are going to be played on the 1.15, and maybe it makes sense to have no heroes and it's just some balancing so they can all kind of catch up to it quickly, or if they're going to play on 1.14. I don't know if that's
I've
been announced yet.
yeah, I don't think it has, but in my mind though, I think that they would probably play on 1.15. Checks and balances would come out, and then just the skins. I think that's probably what maybe the thought process was, especially with everything just kind of being in the mix. You definitely don't want to release a new hero while things are
Yeah.
coming out. You just never know what happens if that new hero is going to be a little too OP, and then it just completely factors too much into who ends up winning, and that's never a situation at
Yeah,
all.
and they bring back the winter map here for the winter championships, so it kind of all goes together. I think having the finals be played on that will be nice too.
Yeah, most definitely.
Speaking of the winter championships, they're coming up. They're like a week and a half away,
They are.
right? Are you gonna be out there?
I don't know. I
Okay.
hope so. Call me. Call me. I don't. I don't know, but I've been checking my email like every time. Whenever I get called out for something, it's always like 5 days or something before it happens, or So I don't know. I just check my email and I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Let's go. So my suitcase is. And you think I'm joking, but literally, this is my suitcase right here.
It's
It's
packed.
always ready to go. No, Because I've just started to learn, like, I just never know. So I always kind of have it partially ready to go. And I'm like, all right, we're going. Let's get going.
I feel
So,
like that's a decent habit to have. Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe I have to get out of here right away. Just
Maybe
always
I
have
gotta
this.
go. I don't know.
So I'll be there. I'm really looking forward to checking it out, and it being at the Red Bull eSports studio is
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Not gonna lie, if I don't go, I'm gonna be super jealous of you. There's a lot of hate messages that are gonna come through
Oh
your
man.
Twitter.
Well, I'll be posting pictures and hopefully some interviews as well. But everyone should get tickets. I think they're like $10-15 somewhere in there.
Hmm.
I don't think it's sold out. I think the arena, the studio is huge, so I think you could get tickets probably up until the day of and get in there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think actually, because I know I had posted it most recently on my website, but yeah, they were selling the tickets on. That's what I was trying to remember where they were selling it. But at the last time that I checked, the tickets were not sold out, and they were
Okay.
still selling them. Oh, on Eventbrite.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. So
Very cool. Yeah. So hopefully we see a lot of people there. Looking forward to how this is set up and just being bigger and I guess more badass than last time.
yeah, $8.40.
Oh, okay. That's yeah.
Wow,
I think
that's crazy.
they just want people to be there. Like it's almost like
Yeah,
just
yeah.
here's a free ticket, just show
And
up.
they're basically they're saying sell ends March 7th, 2016. So that's early bird. So you get a 3-day ticket, and it includes the after party,
Oh,
which is
okay.
really neat too. Ooh, Red Bull after party.
Yeah.
That that
I-
sounds fun.
Everyone's gonna be hopped up. It's just gonna be crazy.
Hopped up on Red Bull.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people upset about the age limit that's happening. I don't know, do you follow that at all on Twitter and see the little bit of backlash that was going on there?
I did actually. Yeah, that's I don't know. I was kind of thinking about it, and as far as in just different terms, but I could kind of see the point, with the remote location, and I can also see the point of the way teams are feeling, as far as in, wanting those people to be directly next to them. It does help a little bit, I feel like, with communication. Plus, you just never know, like, of course, communication never fails when you're directly next to someone, right?
Right.
Because you can be like, hey,
Can you hear me? Yeah.
can you hear me? But like when it's remote though, and then you have to really worry about, like, is it going to be on time? Is there going to be a delay in the system? Are comms going to fail? They did say though that they were working on remote locations that were going to be suitable so that it wasn't going to be too bad. But I think just the whole flying out, and then needing the parents to be there at the same point, and having them fly in too because of age and so forth. I think maybe just was a bit of a stress level and so forth, and
Right.
but
So I guess
I don't know.
for anyone that didn't follow this on Twitter, the what happened was if you're under I think 14, under 14 or 15, I think
Under
it's
14,
14.
14 and under actually.
You're basically not allowed. You can't compete at the event. You can't if your team got in. You can't be there on stage to compete, and I think it comes back to it being an energy drink and an underage kid being seen like kind of marketed to or using to market to kids this product. So I think that's the legalness of it. So I think it's strictly a Red Bull thing. It's not a Super Evil thing.
Yeah.
So, which I can understand. That's a valid case, and I'm sure they've gotten in trouble for it before of using kids in marketing to get them hooked on this
Yeah.
drink.
I mean, yeah, and it's kind of like when Camel cigarettes used to market theirs with the cartoon, Camel and
Right.
the fancy boxes, and you see how they took all those tin can boxes away and things like that. So yeah, maybe it does fall in that same part. Plus, you don't want to have kids having heart attacks.
Right. Yeah. A little harder than there.
Red Bull makes me better at this game.
Yeah. Awesome. So get ready for those a couple weeks, and yeah, we'll probably be talking about it more once the teams are officially announced. I think they have. There's a list somewhere, but I don't have it handy at the moment. And then in the esports scene, the VGL is wrapping up today, the second winter qualifiers. As we're recording, the what EU matches are going underway between SK and G2.
Yeah, yeah.
I know we started. I think it
2-1
was
so
it
far.
was 1-1. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's 2-1 now.
2-1.
SK's leading right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these final first place matches are best of 5, which really makes interesting to watch. Like you're able to kind of develop that strategy and kind of counter your teammates a little more rather than just the win 2 over and done with. Like you could do the saw push and win really
Right.
fast before anyone has the time to react to like, oh well, what are they doing? What can we get in their head with? So
Right. Yeah, the best of 5 definitely makes the game a lot more interesting and not so it's not so quick, and of course then it really comes down to, fatigue and stamina, really being present and just keeping focus. 3 games, is pretty quick. If you sit down and play 3 games kind of back to back to back, that's pretty quick. And if you
yeah,
can knock out 2, then you're done. You're like, oh man, 40 minutes, we're done. We just won this whole thing or
right.
less than, right? But yeah, bringing 5 games in and you having to sit there for over an hour really kind of starts bringing into to some problems. Even when you're streaming or something, you still got to feel that way at times. You're like, I don't know if I can go one more game.
Yeah.
So, from a competitive state where it's even more of a high stress level, I think that's even cooler to have it at 5 games, and yeah, definitely allowing them to really kind of fill the team out and try new comps and really kind of break down what their weaknesses or strengths are.
So we don't have any spoilers then because we don't know who won. So everyone listening or watching, like, go watch these games yourself. I'm sure they're all going to be great. I'm excited for this afternoon for Alliance versus Gangstar Sirius, kind of a rematch of sorts from the
Third time,
VIPL.
right?
Yeah,
Third time,
yeah.
3 times, right?
So this should be really neat to watch and see how Kolomik, knowing what his teammates did now, and being able to bring that over and kind of inform Alliance and help them maybe
Uh,
have like some inside knowledge. I don't know.
this feels very, I don't know, this feels eerie, but at the same point though, I mean they're a new team though, so whenever you start bringing on new players, then it definitely changes team chemistry in itself. So I think the way that they used to play with Cole Meek is not necessarily the way they're going to play now. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to. If I was them, I definitely would not be like, "Hey, we need to keep with the same strategy because we used to win like this all the time." No, I would definitely switch over, but I don't feel like you could play the same with a different team member. I think it's going to be a different chemistry, and I think it's going to go well. So
Yeah.
we shall see. We shall see.
Well, no, Fuji likes to bring out that rhyme, so we'll probably see a rhyme. Like he's just like that's one of his like almost pocket picks at this point. Like it's gonna happen at some point. And always neat to see people play rhyme at a high level, and it's because he is fun to watch and can be unkillable. So I love seeing that.
That fortified help though.
Yeah. Well, I think that does it for all the news, but I found a couple topics on the forums that I think are kind of interesting and worth chatting about here. So let's jump into those.
Forum static.
So on the forums, there's a lot of complaining that happens on the forums. I don't know if you hang out on the Vainglory forums at
Wait,
all.
time out. Did you say there's complaining in forums? What do you, in any forum or just Vainglory?
I only look at this one, so I don't know what
Oh,
happens.
okay, okay. I was confused for a second there.
On the forums lately, it seems like there is and on Twitter too, there seems to be a little bit of a negative segment or sentiment to the game lately, and to Super Evil for, I think people are getting frustrated with maybe the repetitive nature of the game and just like the meta's always broken, somebody's always overpowered. We don't have draft mode yet. The same items are here. Like these are kind of the complaints everyone's running around, and just like supports. Like we're talking about supports, and people think support is still boring. I have a good time playing support, but there's a lot of people that don't like playing it, and so it makes people at certain skill tiers kind of just frustrated with the game as well.
Right.
Have you been seeing this at all or feeling this way at all with the game?
I Actually, the way I was kind of, seeing from just some of my viewers in general, some people are starting to say that they are enjoying playing support more than they used to, and that support is kind of like a growing nature now, kind of coming in versus just having the carries. Like it seems like people are trying to be a little bit more versatile. Um, I don't really know, like though, as far as in it being repetitive though, or that the same instances occur. I think with any particular game you're always going to have someone who is going to be a little bit stronger, or there's always counters though,
Right.
for anyone, unless and sometimes there's going to be breaks, and I think it's going to happen, but the game is still fairly new, and I know it doesn't feel like that because everyone, after playing it for a few months, you start feeling very intermediate as a player because that's the ease that they bring into the game. But at the same point in time, though, they try to make the corrections as fast as possible. And for a game that's free to play and a game that you're not paying for. Other than if you want to look really cool and decide you want to buy a skin, I think there's kind of like a limited room amount of to complain about. I can definitely
Sure. Yeah.
understand if you're playing like this was subscription based and and you're paying $60 for the game and $5 per month like some other games. But I mean, this game is, I don't ever find it repetitive. I think the maps change and the map is, still the same, but at the same point in time, a game never ends the same.
Right.
It's not like you took the Kraken and that's game over. So I never felt like that. I always feel that it's completely different. Each game that you play, I think it just takes time to really understand, and maybe those who are possibly complaining are people who are still trying to
Learn it.
understand the game and learn it and really kind of get a understanding of what they're doing. And maybe they feel like that because they are maybe turret diving too much. Hey man,
Okay.
stay away from those turrets, guys. Stay away from them.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about how Fortress being overpowered kind of is hurting the game again because we had Kestrel for so long. But I really don't like Fortress is strong. Don't get me wrong. Like he's getting banned out in a lot of these VGL matches, but he's also not unbeatable. He's not. It's not ridiculous like Kestrel. With Kestrel, I think was much stronger. Scarf when he could just burn you down super fast. Like that was kind of ridiculous. And
Scarf can still pretty much burn you down. I mean, I always like have, and I'm gonna sound super super bad, but I mean, no one ever says this about Vox, and Vox is like one of the craziest scaling heroes on the board,
yeah,
and no one ever talks about him. But like to me, I'm like, this guy is ridiculous. If you let him get his build, he becomes one of the guys where you're like literally trying to run from, and you're like, I don't want to be anywhere next to him. Like, oh my god, he's fully crystal powered now. Let's get away from this guy,
yeah.
And no one ever talks about it, and I think that's always kind of weird to me too. That like, and I think it's just maybe it's just favorites, right? Like you got your favorite, and so you want your favorite to always be on top versus any other person.
If we don't,
But
if we don't talk about Vox, they won't change Vox. So let's just keep him out of this conversation.
yeah. Hey, Vox is OP. Can we change it? No, but I think there's always counters. I think Super Evil has always been one of those companies that maintains itself on listening to the community, and whatever the community says or really feels is an important position to them. It seems like they're always very quick on the following update, right, to try to get it changed.
Yeah.
At least, and we've seen hot fixes occur, right? Like, when the Arden situation happened, I mean, that thing got fixed in not even in an update. It literally got fixed,
Right.
like in mid game. So, it's I think there's things that happen, and hey man, you make your own game, bro, and you show it you show it to us.
There you go. Yeah.
And we'll play it and see how it goes. Let's go from there.
One of the things they brought up was also the meta. If we've seen this Fortress Ringo Koshka comp for maybe many a times. I think that's a product of we're just still getting new heroes, and those heroes they are easy, and people have them. They have Ringo, they have Koshka, and they may have Fortress now because he's really strong, so we got to pick him up. But you start to see those same comps because those are the heroes people own. and we don't have
Yeah,
that many heroes yet.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the heroes are coming out, and we're not going to see one this particular update, but for the hero, I think they've been kind of at least maintaining a good amount of heroes coming through. But the thing I will say about the meta and the way that sometimes I feel about it is that I think they do change it, and sometimes they change it for simple terms of trying to get people to really explore the game
Mhm.
and try to play with other heroes that they're not familiar with and that have been kind of not looked upon, in a minute, and really trying to bring them back. So sometimes I think it's more of a situation like, well, man, we haven't seen anyone play pedals in a minute. Let's try to beat this up a bit, or Adagio. There was a minute where no one was playing Adagio, and
Yeah,
then you're starting to see more Adagios come out. So there was a minute where people weren't playing a lot of Catherine. They were only on Arden only, and now you're starting to see a lot of Catherine come back,
yeah,
especially with 1.14. It was 1.14 was it felt like it had been a minute since I was really like I would kind of see Catherine's trickle, here and there, but um yeah, 1.14 is like Catherine, Catherine,
yeah,
Catherine. So I think it's always going to change, and at least we're getting some good rotations, and people are really exploring, and it's bringing people away from whenever they're announcing things. It's not like you hear them talk about, well, we know, Unseen Outlaw is great with Catherine, or it's like it's not just that one particular hero. It's like they're very much exploring the game, and that's good. That's what you want to see. You want to see people really explore. Puts the other team at a very interesting level, because you're always trying to decide, are they going to play this person, or are they going to play this other person now that they've had some experience since things have changed with the meta.
yeah. And I guess the last thing on the negative crying here, I've seen a lot of people say they don't care about esports, and Vainglory and a lot of the community we've seen, like with the VGL and stuff, like that's what they're pushing. Uh, they talk about it on Twitter all the time. They talk about the players. They added this esports tab in the news section. And so it is in your face very much, the esports. And if you don't care about the teams playing and you just want a casual game, and which I think the casual player base is much larger than this competitive player base, and because what, top 1% are like up there in the POA and above. So that's not a lot of players when you think about it.
Except for this past update, though. Like, when they did that hard reset, I think this was the biggest percentage of PoA players that they've ever had.
Okay.
With what's currently going on, and that was mostly with the hard reset and kind of some of those players being able to kind of backtail on some of those already previous PoA players. They were able to just kind of solo queue with them and get into PoA. Not that they got to stay in PoA after things kind of like fell off, but for a little bit though, I think this was the highest update of PoA players ever
Okay.
seen in Vainglory. Um,
But me and
I
my
don't.
yeah, me and my friends talk about the competitive, because we watch a lot of League of Legends, and they push that pretty hard. Riot does with their
Right.
LCS, and they've said LCS loses money for them constantly. The game makes them money, but the competitive scene they lose money on. But it's advertising for the game,
Yeah.
and so I'm sure Super Evil kinds of sees it the same way, and they know not everyone's gonna care, but it gets it on Twitch. The numbers are up there. People talk about it. There's articles written, and so it brings out the game. There's not a lot of casual people writing about, like, oh, I had this fun game where I built this item. Like, check it out.
Yeah.
This game's a blast. No, you get the esports stories. You get Red Bull. You get IGN picking up stuff.
I don't know. I think the moment that you start having Red Bull involved into the situation, I feel like that means that something is going right. I feel like if it wasn't, if it wasn't anything, then it wouldn't be anything.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, in the terms of Vainglory, shooting out a lot of esports, it's because, yeah, I think there's some people who don't care. Just like with any other game, people, even if you were talking about Counter Strike, for instance, or League of Legends. I mean, people, don't. I mean, some people don't care, but a lot of people do care. I mean, I don't think you would have, over 2,000 people right now watching the Vainglory EU League, currently going on with G2 and SK, if it wasn't anything that they cared about. And so I think I think there's going to be more and more as things progress, and esports inside of mobile gaming is so new.
Right.
I think that's the main thing we need to remember, right? It's like this is a new frontier. I mean, this is I mean, you're right now and me are currently standing on a point where esports has never existed in mobile gaming. There's games right now trying to come out that are leaning so competitively now, trying to bring in a competitive nature and make these different battles and so forth come out. And I think that's really cool to see in mobile gaming. So
Yeah.
what we're currently seeing and what people are saying are just, I really feel, are like speculations of something that's just new and not really understood. I think a lot of people at one point in time would have never thought they would have seen a competitive scene of Vainglory, and to see that now and to see these guilds and see people actively trying to get in certain guilds and certain teams now, I mean, only shows now that we're really trying to strive to make this community in this game something more than than just what we only imagined it to be.
Right.
So, um, I think it's going to be really, really interesting as far as in what's kind of going on, and to really see how far the competitive nature of the game is going to grow. But
Hmm.
right now, the league and the competitions are so new
Yeah.
to us, and American scene is so much different as well, as far as in what we think, as far as in the game competitively, and what like Asia thinks in the game
Yeah.
competitively as well too. Because for them, they're like, hats off to you guys. Let's go, boys. So,
Yeah, I think you're right on with the mobile aspect of it and us having to think about it differently. I think we may look back, 5 years from now, if or 10 years, and if this game's still here or not, and be like, Super Evil changed the competitive scene and change
yeah,
mobile gaming because you now think of mobile gaming as a game you can sit down and play and watch people. It's not something you can only play when you're like waiting at the DMV or do
right.
some Candy Crush waiting on the bus.
I
So
mean, do you remember when you saw like the iPad or whatever was released, and then you saw like how Vainglory was kind of like their front and center, and with the Retina display and so forth, and you're like, oh, that game looks kind of cool. What is that?
yeah,
And you played it, and it was just such a casual game at the time. Oh, and and now like I said, I've only been playing what like full time for what 6 7 months now. So I mean, I've literally sat here from that. You got to remember that's only 6 7 months of full time, right? And that's not long at all. That's so
yeah,
to see where it was when I started and to see where it is now is such a huge strive. I mean, there was no guilds when I started. Like, there's none of these teams. There was people who kind of like I remember when people were kind of like putting their like little names and stuff team wise in front of their usernames. Remember that kind
oh
of like
yeah,
people were
hmm,
just kind of putting whatever they wanted in front, and so I think we're going to see some really, really awesome, amazing things continue forward. I mean, we haven't even got into a full year.
yeah,
So skeptics, calm down,
yeah.
give it a full year, and let's see what happens. This is new, guys. This is new.
Yeah,
Don't be scared.
and I think
Don't be scared.
Super Evil has a vision. They've said many a times they're not necessarily in it to just make a huge profit. They're in it
No.
to build this great game. So uh, trust in them, and all the people that say they're quitting the game and they're done. You always come back.
They always say that, and they always come back. Be quiet.
I say
Sit
that. I say
down.
that every day. Like, oh, I'm done with this, and then I'll
Sit
go. I'll
down.
go to the fridge and get a drink, and then I'm like, all right, one more.
You're so salty. Yeah, yeah. That's just if you rage that much in a game, that means you love it.
True. Okay.
If you rage that much in a game, you love it. I mean, simple as that. If you feel like things are like getting too strong or crazy, I mean, you love it. That means you care about the game
Yeah, that's a good
enough to
point.
even have an opinion about it. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't have an opinion about the game. You wouldn't care whether or not something was broken, or if you felt that something was too OP. You would, I mean, these would be things that wouldn't even be a part of your mind. You'd be like, oh well, that's too OP, and I don't want to play this anymore, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But no, you're sitting in forums because you're writing topics because you want the devs to see because you want to see if there's something that could possibly be fixed because you love the game.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's where we
that's a
are,
good
right?
point. Yeah.
If I have to sit down to if I have to sit down to log into something to talk about it, I love this thing. Like, I
Yeah.
love it. So I think everyone calm down. It's been less than a year, and I think right now we're on to great and wonderful things. I mean, to see US, EU, SEA, to see South America, to see all these like wonderful things like occur all in one whole realm, and to see so many different users for every single region be participating.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, psh,
Pretty
wow,
awesome. Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. I mean, you're sitting here. I mean, I already feel like like I said, I mean, I like know the name Shatter the Vain, right?
Hmm.
Through the game and so forth, and that's I think to have all these really great, not only the game, but to have like all these great podcasts as well,
Hmm.
like form, and to have all these new communities and new entrepreneurs just start to like gravitate towards it and make all these new things to even expand it more in less than a year, right? Since all the competitiveness has started to occur,
Yeah.
it can only foretell what we shall be in the future.
Cool. Good. Great points there. Yes. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, I would go over to the forums and chime in and let the devs read it. So yeah, let them know what you think, and that's I think you're right. Like chime in, help them make a better game. They want to make a better game that we all love.
They
So
do.
go for it.
They do.
And then so the last thing before we get out of here is a random item.
Random item.
So every now and then, I like to just kind of pick an item, go on Vainglory Fire, find one, talk about it, and I decided to pick Tyrant's Monocle this time because you are seeing this item on almost every weapon carry right now, possibly even two of them you're starting to see. And I want to say I think the reason you're seeing this is because the crit damage is just becoming like very popular right now, and being able to burst someone down very quickly is the reason you're seeing this, as well as tornado triggers more than and breaking point is not as impressive as it used to be on most
Yeah.
people, so that kind of we needed a spot for this.
Right. Right.
So Tyrant's Monocle is a tier 3 weapon item. It gives you 40% crit chance, 20% crit damage, and then 50% weapon power. Then this is most effective when you combine it with more weapon power and attack speed. So this is an item you want to get usually probably second. You usually start with maybe your Sorrow Blade first, and then you build your first Tyrant's Monocle.
Right. Your first one,
Yeah.
we've been seeing doubles lately.
Yeah. I think even the game, the SKG2 game was on before this. It was, I think, Vox had a Tyrant's Monocle on him. So we're
Right.
seeing the weapon Voxes that crit as well, double crits, because he's got, it procs so much from him.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I I usually build this item on Jewel. That's kind of one of my go-to items when playing Jewel. That crit Jewel, double Tyrants, Sorrow Blade.
Sorrow Blade.
Yeah.
Sorrow Blade first.
Sorrow Blade first, and I don't know. I really like this item. I would love to see more items in the game, and I think we will see that. But right now, this item is, very popular, and I think you should be picking it up if you're playing a weapon carry, because crit damage on someone like Cruel or even Finn, where you can kind of do burst of damage and get them out of there faster, is very important.
Mhm. And that would have never happened if Breaking Point would have changed. Like, so right there, I mean, right there, that tells you just like the way that people are experimenting and the way that people are easily able, like, so even if they complain about a particular item, like whether or not it's the Breaking Point, I mean, they make way to try to change and make adjustments. So
Hmm.
seeing so many people starting to use Tyrant's Monocle, or even like Frostburn and stuff like that, those are all different changes, that
Yeah.
really need to see people like kind of move around and try to make these new composition of items. So
And
And I think that's only going to be better. I don't know if we're going to see any new items, though, to be honest.
I think we
You
will
know,
at some point. Like we've had two in the since the game launched, like two new ones.
right.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't know if things will be different or if right now, I think for the meantime, until things can get a little bit more settled, if we're just going to stay with the same current items, and then maybe we might see some more or less adjustments within the items currently. And I think once those things become a little bit more stable, then maybe we'll start seeing some more come out. But um, possibly when they release a new hero,
Yeah.
right? Like one that absorbs energy and sends it back.
Oh, okay, there you go. Man, you just want a lot there.
Give me the hero that I'm asking for.
So check out Tyrant's Monolith. I think the build path is really efficient here because you could, like, if you just want to build some weapon damage first, you go with the 6 sins, or if you want to build some of that crit chance and damage first, you could get a lucky strike, or even I've seen 2 lucky strikes before even getting 1 Tyrant's Monocle, just so you can crit, especially if you're doing like a crit Ringo or something like that. That's always fun. So that, I think, does it for episode 83. Thanks, man, for joining me. This was fantastic.
Yo, thank you so much, man, for bringing me on, dude. Super exciting. I was super nervous.
Oh, it's easy. This is just a nice casual talk about Vainglory.
Casual. Just keep it chilling.
So where can people find you, get in touch, on Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff?
Oh, all right. Well, if you definitely want to find me, you can definitely find me at www.nerdsforrevenge.com, the official website of the Nerds. You can also find me on Twitch. .tv/nerds4revenge, and my Twitter handle is @unseen_outlaw.
And then you have like some Battle of the Nerds you're doing on stream, right?
I do.
I do. What's that for anyone that isn't familiar?
So for anyone that hasn't, so I was very, I thought the same way that kind of people may or may not be thinking, as terms of really trying to bind the mix between amateur and pros. And I really wanted to find a way to really get people to start to move in a competitive nature by starting to really promote an amateur competition. And so Battle of the Nerds mostly takes place on my stream, and we're going to try to keep it going one time a month. And basically we've been doing $150 for the grand prize, and I usually select 8 teams to kind of compete in it, to allow them to really start to move forward with the esports movement and really starting to step their game up. I think there's like a point where sometimes people feel like, with any game that there's just the amateurs and then there's just the pros, and mostly there's so much focus around the pros. I don't want it to be like that, because like I think that's the thing, right? We talked about it. And people were saying, well, they kind of feel this way with the forums. And I think if you feel a certain way, you definitely should, if you feel a certain way, do something about it, if you can. And so that's the way I felt about it. Let's do something about it. Let's definitely create something that was going to really tie the distance between amateur and pros and really get people more involved and more, interactive into the game until they can make that step into, POA and so forth.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. So now, check that out. You probably tweet it out when it's going on or when you're organizing the team. So
I do.
All right. Get ready for that.
So follow.
Yeah, follow them up and check out the streams and all that good stuff. So that does it for episode 83. You can follow Shatter The Vain on Twitter @Shatter The Vain. Usually tweeting about what's happening in Vainglory, and then my frustrations maybe with the game, with pingings or stuff like that as well. And the website, shatterthevain.com. All the episodes get posted there. iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud. Any way you want to listen or watch the show, you can. So go over there. And be sure to subscribe if you're using iTunes and leave a review. I love seeing those. I tweet those out as well. So I appreciate everyone leaving those reviews because it gets more people listening to the show and gets more people into Vainglory. And that'll do it. We'll be back with episode 84 soon. It might be a patch rundown next, so get ready for that.
Ooh, fancy.
Take care.
Shatter the Vain.
Let's get this over with.